Hello, I'm Gemma Merrick. How are you? I am the founder of Regular Jane's Fitness and Nutrition. I am a personal trainer and also a nutrition coach. I have a certificate 4 in nutrition coaching, which is a nice bridge between what a personal trainer can provide when it comes to individualized nutrition advice and information to what a dietitian can provide as well. So I coach women around healthy eating, healthy habits, how they can break through emotional eating, but also beliefs as well that we either have grown up with or have learnt along the way around eating and food, but also to take a back to basics, common sense approach. As well as that, I'm also me. I'm a 40, almost 41-year-old mum to William, who is 7, and a wife to my husband, Patrick. Through most of my life, I've actually battled with food. So from being a tubby kid to a shy teenager whose only wish was to be thin and lean, why I perused and just admired the models in Dolly and Girlfriend magazine. To then also being an overweight adult, not understanding food, portions, what was healthy, what wasn't healthy, feeling guilty, feeling shame, and vowing to lose as much weight as possible as quickly as possible. I've also battled through being overweight after pregnancy, and then, of course, the time and busyness that we have as a working mum, working a job, but also building a business as well. And I'm also now, because I'm into my 40s, I will soon be thrust into the phase of perimenopause and then eventually menopause as well, which will no doubt have an impact on my nutrition and how I feel about myself and my confidence. So with all that past history behind me of battling with weight and fearing food and thinking that's the enemy, I actually now want to use food to my advantage and give that knowledge and power to other women like you as well. So we can feel empowered and know that we are still supporting our bodies and making the right choices, regardless of how we look like, and that we do actually feel amazing. I'm actually tired of the bullshit that's out there around, what you should be doing and what you should not be doing, how you can shred weight as quickly as possible and look absolutely amazing. I want to actually just feel great each day, have energy, feel good, look good, whatever that means to me. And I also just want to enjoy a really good quality of life now and also when I'm older. Who's with me? So tonight we're going to be covering Healthy Eating 101. What is healthy eating? Why do we want to eat healthy? How can we eat healthy? And some takeaways. No, I'm not talking about from the corner shop. I'm talking about takeaways that you can actually take with you and implement into your day, starting from today. Why not? So what is healthy eating? It's quite of a broad and subjective question, isn't it? What is it? Especially when we have so many known diets or eating styles out there. I mean, we have clean eating, raw, organic, low carb, low fat, the 80-20, fasting, or eating it through certain times or certain windows through the day. And then, of course, we have our other specialized diets too, such as keto, Mediterranean, and the Twinkie diet as well. I'm not sure if anyone's heard about that. All these diets, we read about them in articles, social media. We can watch about them in documentaries and movies. Organizations and institutes and products are also selling what it means to actually be eating healthy. And if you actually don't know what it means to eat healthy, that's okay, because it is very confusing. So what is healthy eating? And this is in my opinion. I believe that healthy eating is a lifestyle. It is something that you do every day or most days. I believe that it is enjoying a wide variety of different foods from all the food groups, and that also includes our discretionary foods, also known as junk food or treats. That food is fuel, and understanding that food that we eat actually provides us energy and fuel for us to, one, function as a human being or an amazing woman, as we are in our case, but also two, to actually let us to do a little bit extra so we can go out and actually enjoy our day or our weekends, have that energy to be able to do that. It's also appreciating too that food is medicine, and that food through its nutrients has actually many wonderful properties to either prevent illness and disease, to potentially cure illness and disease, or to alleviate or reduce our risk or our symptoms that we have for any illness and disease, including some chronic conditions as well. So, for example, when we talk about food is medicine, the Brussels sprout, I mean, how boring is that? But that's actually loaded with nutrients such as vitamin K, which helps with blood clotting, vitamin C, which, as we know, is great for our immune system, especially through winter. But vitamin C also helps to absorb iron as well, which can be quite common for some women to be low in iron, especially in the menstruating cycle. More about that one later. Vitamin B6 for our brain health, iron as well. So I've already spoke about that. So it goes hand in hand, which is fantastic with the vitamin C, and also magnesium, which one of its components of magnesium is that it can actually help reduce or prevent muscle cramping as well, which is useful to know. And also it's about knowing your body. So actually understanding what happens when you eat certain foods, whether they are nutritious foods or not so nutritious foods. So there might be some foods where perhaps you feel quite uncomfortable in your digestive system or your tummy, bloating, pop-offing, runny poos even, or constipation as well, to, feeling itchy on your skin, your nose might start to run a little bit, or perhaps even just your mood and your energy might change as well. Perhaps there's some certain foods where you feel quite sluggish, or perhaps it actually reduces your mood, where perhaps it actually makes you feel a little bit low or sad. But then also other way too, where some foods might actually make you feel really nutritious, or you can actually, as you're eating it, you feel really good for it. It's about understanding and knowing that too, and taking notice of it. So what is not healthy eating for me, in my opinion? I actually don't think that it should be complex. And as I was saying at the start, I think that healthy eating can actually just be about back to basics, common sense approach. I don't believe it should be about cutting out particular foods or food groups from your diet. So yes, I'm all down for enjoying a tasty treat, but I also think that it isn't about cutting out food groups such as our carbohydrates or dairy, those sorts of things, unless of course that you have an intolerance for cultural reasons or ethical reasons as well. If you are cutting out foods for any of those reasons, so ethical, cultural, or intolerance or an allergy, then you are really strongly encouraged that you do seek professional advice through a dietitian or your GP in the first instance, so they can make sure that you are supporting your health through other foods that you can eat there. Otherwise, you may fall down the malnutrition trap. I don't think that it's about restrictive dieting, so cutting down on a large amount of calories in order to lose weight or to, maintain your weight. Just to put it in a bit of perspective, that a toddler's energy requirements is roughly around 1,000 to 1,400 calories a day. And for adult women, depending on age, energy, and quite a few other variants, it's between about 1,800 to 2,200 calories a day. And that's just to function and go about your day. So when I mean by that, I think about from when you're sleeping, so your body can do all its amazing things like resting, repairing, resetting for the next day, to getting out of bed, getting ready for your day, driving, thinking, having conversations, drinking, chewing, thinking about all the things that you need to do, coming home, cooking dinner, and then resting and recuperating for the next day. So your body needs energy to do that alone. The other thing too about restrictive dieting and calorie is the relationship that it can actually have for your metabolism. So when you are in too much of a big calorie deficit for too long, it can actually upset your metabolism. So if you are trying to lose weight, it can actually do the complete opposite. It might not do that straight away, but if you keep going through that dieting yo-yo, which women quite often do, you know, on a diet, off a diet, on a diet, off a diet, that can really upset your metabolism and how that you quickly or how easily it is for you to lose weight as well. So think about that. Also need to think too about mental health and relationship with foods as well. If you're having a huge big calorie deficit, as well as cutting out food groups too. I also don't think that healthy eating shouldn't be about receiving or asking for advice from strangers. I think there's a bit of stranger danger there, and I see it quite often, especially in Facebook groups, when women who are already feeling quite vulnerable or aren't quite sure on what to do, you know, they might be feeling really unhealthy. They could be quite overweight and they're just desperate to lose weight. And they're just asking anyone who they've got no idea who they are, what they should do. And these people who have got no idea who this person is telling them what to do. And a lot of the time it's information that really shouldn't be given by ordinary people to another ordinary person, because there's things that we need to think about for that person who's asking the question. And that is, like I said before, with restricted dieting, what's their previous history around food? Do they have disordered eating? They might not actually be of an unhealthy weight, and perhaps that they're fine. It's also about understanding if they might have any medical conditions that needs to be considered, such as an intolerance, or perhaps they have a chronic condition where a particular diet might actually do more harm than help. Ethnicity, that also has an underlying factor too around nutrition, age, their sex, male or female, their height, their current weight of what they are, and also about how active they are too. And then there's like a whole lot of other considerations too that just needs to be met, that that you just can't draw from there. So my take-home point for there is to you is just to be mindful around who you're asking for advice when it comes to healthy eating and how nutrition can support you and any goals that you might have. So that would be from a GP, personal trainer for so far. I mean, they have so much of a scope that they can provide individual advice, a nutrition coach such as myself, a nutritionist or a dietitian, and perhaps even potentially a naturopath. And healthy eating is also not around secrecy, shame, and judgment. So that is when you are eating food, whatever it is, there shouldn't be any feelings that you are ashamed, that you're eating in secret, or that you feel judged. If you do have any of those thoughts or feelings, then again, I do encourage you to seek out professional support. So why? Why do we want to eat healthy? Well, as I've already alluded to, food provides us energy. Food has energy in it. And you think of energy as the type of fuel that you want to put in your car. Think of your car as the most fabulous and amazing car that you want it to be. You are then, of course, going to put the best fuel into your car. If you put dirty fuel in, then your car's not going to run very well, and you're going to have to take it to the service station and or the mechanic, and it's going to cost you a mozza to get it fixed. If you don't put fuel in, the car is eventually going to stop and it won't be able to restart at all. All food and drink that we consume provides us with energy. So water doesn't actually have like any calories or kilojoules to it, but it still provides us energy. And we need this energy to do things like stay alive, breathe, walk, chew, talk, type, even while you're at the desk, and move and go about our day. And then, of course, you're going to need more energy, as I said, when you want to up that game. So whether that might be some exercise or perhaps doing, something else, you're actually burning energy while you're sitting here listening to me. And believe it or not, you're actually burning energy while you're asleep and even doing your Netflix and chill. So you need energy for that too. So there's an excuse for you to go, to eat your food. You need it for your Netflix. It's also about quality of life too, and that's one of my big reasons as to why I want to eat well. And that's about having that quality for life and being fit for life now and when I'm older, to prevent against any disease now or when I'm older, like I had said. But it's also about helping my body systems work as best as they can. So my nervous system, which is a bit like our computer for our body, nutrients will help that. Food as energy will help that to run as well. To assist with my digestive system, so to make that as healthy as possible. So yes, I can do nice, lovely poos, but also in your small intestine is where you absorb about 90% of your nutrients as well. So you want to have a really good, effective digestive system. And part of that also includes having really good gut health. Now, we hear a lot about gut health, and the important thing about gut health is, yes, also about having a healthy gut and being able to break down and process foods. But there's actually a strong link between our gut and our brain axis. And there's been studies around how a healthy gut and brain axis can help to prevent mental health illness or disease there as well. So hugely important. Of course, our skeletal system. So making our bones lovely, strong and dense, especially as we get older into that perimenopause and menopause stage, and also our muscles too. So even if you're not one who is exercising, you're still having little tears in your muscles through the day. So it's really important that through good nutrition that you're able to repair and restore those muscles so you can keep nice and strong and avoid any injury there, just through twisting your back or something like that. So circulatory system as well, and having healthy blood flow as well as cardio health, carrying oxygen through our body. Our immune system, of course, and that's protecting our body to fight infection and diseases, and our endocrine system as well, which includes our hormones, growth, repair, sexual reproduction, fertility, digestion, and our homeostatic position. So that's basically where your body is on an even keel or so. Sexual production, I mean, if you're not in that stage of your life or you aren't sexually productive, it still is about having good fertility. And fertility can actually be a really good indication of how your health is going and a really good report card for that as well. So if you are in the age of still menstruating and such, and your periods or your menstrual cycle's a bit off when usually it's not, it could be a telltale sign that perhaps at your body there's something going on in there, and it might be time to perhaps go see a doctor about that. So why? Continuing on, we have 4 macronutrients and 3 of those are essential. In case you can't tell which one is the non-essential one, that one is alcohol. So we do need protein, carbohydrates, and fats as part of our diet. And protein, our body is made up mostly of protein. So there's a bit of a fun fact for you. And as I said in the previous slide, protein, well, our muscles have little tears and fissures throughout the day, and protein actually helps to restore that and build it up. It also gives us strong and healthy bones, teeth, hair, our fingernails, joints, and skin as well. So if you are one who wants to look good, eat your protein. It also helps with feeling full for longer, so then that can also reduce any sugar cravings that you might have. And depending how active you are or whether you're coming into perimenopause or menopause, then you also want to really up your protein too. On average, women need about 1 to 2 grams of protein per body kilo weight. but that's all very dependent on how active you are and, like I said, what stage in your life that you are there. There is particular calculations to work that out. I can do that for you if you want to. Just to give you a bit of an indication of what 20 grams of protein is. So it's not like, 20 grams of an actual chicken. It's the protein within that. So 90 grams of raw chicken has 20 grams of protein in it. You're looking at 3 eggs, a cup of red kidney beans, 100 grams of tofu, or 80 grams of the tinned tuna. Okay, so that's 20 grams. So when you think about how much that you might need for that per day, then that will be a bit of a helpful breakdown to you. Carbohydrates, essential, as I said before, because they give you energy. They can either give you a quick energy or they can give you a slow release energy. Quick energies are things known as simple carbohydrates. So when we think about that, that will be our sugary type of foods. So honey, jams, lollies, chocolates, pastries, cakes, biscuits, those sorts of things. Complex carbohydrates, which give us a nice slow release, are vegetables, some fruits, and starches. So, brown rice, whole grain pasta, dense breads, that type of thing. So it would be really good if at lunchtime, if you're having complex carbohydrates over the simple carbohydrates, because that's going to reduce that spike that you're going to get around, 3 o'clock in the afternoon for that crash. And that's again when you're going to be wanting to look for that spike, which is when you're perhaps going to be going for the lollies or the chocolate, the chips or the can of Coke to get that energy boost, or perhaps even that 4th cup of coffee that you probably don't really need. Fats are dietary fats, so they are things such as nuts, seeds, oily fish, eggs, yogurt, olive oil, feta, avocado, and they help us to regulate hunger, absorb and store vitamins, and provides our body with energy and stored energy as well. And once again, like protein, it's really good for healthy, strong hair, skin, nails. It helps for our brain function as well and development, and reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease. And there's also been links to dietary fats reducing depression and anxiety as well. If you're lacking in the dietary fats, it can actually lead to health problems such as poor skin, imbalanced hormones, increased hunger, and vitamin deficiency. And same with carbohydrates too. If you're not having enough carbohydrates, you'll probably actually find that you lack energy. You feel sluggish, brain fog, as though you can't concentrate as well. That's because your brain's and your body in its entirety is actually lacking the energy that it needs, or the glucose, for it to be able to keep going. Alcohol. So it's a macronutrient because it has energy in it. So it has calories or kilojoules to it. Alcohol, I know I'm going to sound like a stickler here, but it actually has no positive impact to your health. Alcohol, especially wine, has claims around antioxidants, but you can actually get that from food. Food is fuel, food is medicine. Guidelines for Australia is for no more than 10 standard drinks per week, and certainly no more than 4 of that 10 in a day. And for a bit of perspective, a standard drink is 100 mils of wine. So it's not perhaps the wine, Paul, that we are used to serving ourselves at home, or even the one that we get in the restaurant. Micronutrients, so they are our vitamins and minerals, and they're sourced from animals and plant products. And a good range of foods will actually help you to meet your recommended daily intake of micronutrients that you might need. So such thing as fiber, women should need around 25 grams of fiber a day. Fiber helps to feel fuller for longer, and it's also great for your digestive health. So you can get fiber from your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, such as your rice, your pasta, quinoa, legumes as well. Of course, I forgot all about legumes. So your chickpeas, your lentils, and your beans like kidney beans and such there too. They also have a great source of protein in them too, and carbohydrate. So, you got pretty good bang for buck with that there as well. So how on earth can you eat healthy when you're time poor, you've got all the things on, food is so expensive, and you're actually unsure around what to eat? Because there's so many diets around, or people are telling you what you should be eating. And when I'm saying by people, I mean like society out there, our books, our social media, our documentaries, and even friends and family who might be on a new whiz-bang diet there. So the first tip from about how you could eat healthily is to actually eat mindfully. And when you eat mindfully, you're actually enjoying your food, you're helping your digestion, and you are also potentially coming over other battles that you might have with food, such as eating in secret, eating quickly, too quickly, but also emotional eating as well. So eating mindfully basically means to actually focus on what you're doing, and that's eating. So not eating while you're scrolling, watching TV, doing other things at the same time, such as getting ready for work, driving, or even at your desk while you're still working. It's actually sitting in a dedicated space, such as the dining table or the kitchen, sitting with a knife and fork or a spoon, whatever, and actually enjoying your meal. So cutting it, chewing it, putting your knife and fork down, chewing, 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 swallowing, and then going again, rather than trying to eat as quickly as you can because you've got to go on to doing the next thing, or you're feeling rushed or overwhelmed or stressed, that type of thing there. Meal planning as well, and preparation. I mean, that's key to there as well. And that's, making time to plan out what it is that you want to eat. So that could either be for a couple of meals through the week, or it might be through the whole week. And then, of course, preparing. So anything that you might need to make in advance, even simple things such as chopping up vegetables in advance so that they're all ready to go, chopping up fruit, perhaps making a really nice fruit salad. So you can just chuck it in a container and off you go to work or wherever it is, and you've got a snack on the go that's healthy and nutritious, rather than an alternative that you might grab, such as a muffin or something like that from a bakery. So that's meal planning and preparing. It cannot be boring, but gee whiz, it can take a little bit of the mental load off you as well if you're feeling quite planned there. And that's also with that too, about having some shopping lists ready to go, which brings me to shopping logistics. And that is having a shopping list and sticking to it. Avoiding shopping when you're feeling hungry, because that's when you are most likely going to fill up the trolley with everything that you do not need or was not on your list. Same if you're feeling rushed or overwhelmed, then you're most likely going to be missing things off the list, or you're just going to go for something that's super convenient and actually not quite of a healthy choice if that's what you're wanting to do. I'm really loving online shopping at the moment. I find it's really good. It takes away that temptation. One type of hunger is sensory hunger, and that is what you can see and what you can smell and even hear even. So it takes away that. I also save time because I just need to do it on the computer and then it gets delivered. And I also save money too because I don't have those impulses as well there too. I'll just touch too on the other types of hunger because I've already spoken about one. So one type of hunger is physical hunger, and that's actually from a hormone called ghrelin and leptin. So that's the physical hunger that you feel, and that's, when your stomach's actually empty of food. And then, of course, there's emotional hunger as well. So that is, happy, sad, stressed, overwhelmed, those sorts of things. We all know about that one. Moving on to bulk or batch cooking. So that's another way how you can eat healthily, and that goes hand in hand too with your meal planning and preparing. And that's by making up large portions of a meal and then either having it for a few days in a row or putting it away in the freezer so you can drag it out one time when you're a bit time poor, or perhaps there's actually not much not much food in the fridge or the pantry, and it's just a matter of defrosting it. And same also, if it's a couple of days into a payday and you're scratching the money jar, then you've got something that's a backup there, and it's not just having Vegemite on toast or something like that. Cooking methods. So that's steering away from your deep fried or your shallow fried and introducing cooking methods such as sauteing, stir frying, steaming, and slow cooking as well, which is quite good too there because you save quite a bit of time there too. Managing your rest and recovery. So that involves having really good sleep and also reducing any stress or keeping stress on hand. When you're tired or stressed, that's when you're most likely going to make some poor choices because your resilience is down and you're tired and you have decision fatigue. You just want to make things as simple as you can, which is fair enough. And sometimes that can be takeaway. And if you're feeling like that for quite a long period of time, then it's going to be takeaway for a long period of time, isn't it? And then you're perhaps just going to go into that cycle of just feeling like crap because you're tired and you're eating takeaway. And, those types of foods do have an impact on how we feel on our body, but also our mood as well. Food switches, which also includes cutting down as well. So, why get rid of a food when you enjoy it so much when it could either be about cutting it down, so having smaller portions. So instead of having, 2 rows of chocolate or even a block of chocolate on the couch when you're winding down, perhaps you're just having a smaller portion, such as a fun size. Or maybe instead of having the dairy milk or the white chocolate, you'll switch for dark chocolate, which can be, you're not going to eat as much of that. And especially if you're eating it mindfully. So you're taking as long as you can to eat that chocolate. Other food switches might be having popcorn instead of chips there, and fake away instead of takeaway. So fake away is actually making your favorite takeaway at home, such as like, a hamburger or pizza, pad thai, those sorts of things where you can actually make it from home for a healthier and potentially even cheaper alternative. Understanding nutrition labels and marketing. So food companies do this really well because they want you to buy their shit. So they're going to put in the front on the front of the package all the words that's going to grab your attention, such as low sugar, low fat, light, which is spelled L-I-T-E, high protein, no additives and such. But if you can actually understand the nutrition label, and when you flip it around and read it, you might actually think, okay, that makes a little bit of sense there. Or, it might be low in sugar, but perhaps it's really high in fat or high in salt, because that's where they're getting the flavor from. Or perhaps it's actually filled with other sweeteners and sugars there, which is going to add to your additives list there as well. Same, it might say it's high protein, but it's actually just a high protein food, and that they actually haven't, added in extra protein, that sort of thing there. It's also about, and sorry, I suppose also back to cutting down to, I've just got the note here. Other ways that you might be able to cut down to is just by removing sugar, say out of your coffee, those sorts of things. And if you're prone to having quite a few milky coffees in a day, then cutting down to having one a day, or even, one every couple of days. Same with drinking alcohol as well. If you're quite used to drinking alcohol daily, see if you can cut down to, a couple of drinks every second day or every other day. And there's some other ways too, how that you can be a little bit healthier in nutrition. Understanding you, so about your triggers, as I've spoken before about emotional eating there, but it's also about your physical triggers too. So when I was speaking at the start around any symptoms that you might have that cause you any upset to either your skin or reactions or your mood and energy too, it's about how noticing that and then going to get some professional help around any testing or anything like that that you might need to do in case you have an intolerance or allergy. It's also about understanding too, you and your hormone cycles and your menstruating cycle as well. So in the lead up to your bleed, in that stage there is, and when you are having your bleed, is that the woman on average will burn about 300 extra calories a day. So that is why you are looking for the carbs. That is why you are so hungry, because your body is actually needing that energy. So let it have that energy. Try and choose, as you know, the healthy, nutritious choice available there, rather than just going for for all the junk food, which is then just going to make you feel even cruddy, isn't it? So there. So just try and have really good foods. When you know that your period is coming up, leading up, have the good food on hand. So the foods are going to make you feel good, but it's also going to give your body that fuel and support that it needs there as well. Up your iron when you're coming into that stage 2, when you're about to come into your bleed and through your bleed. You want to up your iron, because that's when your iron's, well, it's basically coming out, isn't it? You're depleting it too. And also too, with understanding you, and that's about your habits and your behaviors. So as well as the emotional eating, it's also about whether you are a fussy eater or a picky eater, or perhaps you have some fussy and picky eaters in your family or in your household as well. And it's about how that you need to cater for them, you know, and what workarounds that you can do there. And I have the 7 P's to life there because it's a bit of a motto that I like to go by, and that is prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So if you are as organised as much as you possibly can be, then you will be going well and you are set up well for success with anything. I won't be too long on this one, but this is just from the Australian Dietary Guidelines. And for a female with different age groups, it's basically the daily targets that you should be getting for serves for your vegetables, your fruit, your grain, your lean meats, poultry, fish, yada, yada, milk, yogurt. And then there is at the end the approximate number of additional serves from either those 5 food groups or discretionary choices. And discretionary choices is basically your junk food. So food, just as a quick summary that's included in that, is your processed meats. So your salami, even sausages, I know. And of course, you know, your ice cream, your chips, your chocolates, your soft drinks, your alcohol, cream, honey, or butter, that type of stuff there as well. They're saying 0 to 2.5 serves. And I just, out of interest, I think this, just to check your serving sizes, because, you know, when we get the tub of ice cream out of the freezer and we're just doing, you know, some nice spoonfuls of ice cream into the bowl, have a look at that, and then have a look to see what a serve is of ice cream on their nutrition panel and see if it matches. I doubt it. Which is really disappointing when you see that, how much of a serve is that they're providing to what a home serve is there. So where's your takeaways for here? So eat your food and drink your water. So I've been pretty explicit about how important eating your food is and the energy that can give you and the support that it can give your body. But I actually haven't spoken much about water and how important that is. So when we've been watching TV shows about people being thrown out in the wilderness and having to survive, they can do quite well without food for a long period of time, but not water. You need water. It is literally essential to your life. You can only go, a day or 2 without water before your body starts to shut down. Even when your body is starting to get a little bit dehydrated, that's when you'll start to feel tired. You'll yawn. You won't feel as though you have much energy and you'll be sluggish. So drink your water. It should be your main drink through the day. And the average guidelines at the moment is about 30 to 35 mils per body weight. More, of course, if it's hot or if you're quite active that day, because of course you're going to have to replenish what you've lost through sweat, wee, poos. As you breathe as well, you lose water there too, and just through your skin as well, or sweat. I said that before, didn't I? Enjoy a good balance and variety of foods. So across the food groups, your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, your dairy, your animal or your non-animal products, plant-based. Enjoy a large, wide variety. So you do get that interesting across the board flavors, tastes, colors, and your vitamins and minerals and your macronutrients as well. Avoid your diets or your fads and the stranger danger, as I said about before with the stranger danger, and just avoiding those diets or fads that are just giving you those promises for those quick results of weight loss in a short amount of time. That's usually not sustainable, is expensive because they're wanting you to buy a particular product, and it's usually with a celebrity endorsement rather than scientific endorsement that's behind it as well. So just be mindful around those fads that's out there. Food is fuel. Food is medicine. Just remembering that food is not bad. Food's not terrible. It's actually pretty cool and awesome and amazing in what it does for our bodies. You're an adult. Yes, indeedy. So you can make choices as to what you want to eat. So if you want to eat a pizza, eat a pizza. And at the end of it, rather than feeling any guilt or shame, like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten the pizza, think more about how your brain, not your brain, your body is responding to that pizza. So is it making you feel bloated? Perhaps you had a really, maybe like when you wake up the next day, you notice that you had a really bad night's sleep because you're either too much salt or it's kept you awake and you haven't been able to sleep because you've been so thirsty, or perhaps sugar, got a sugar rush, so you haven't been able to sleep. How it affects your digestion, so any bloating, extra pop-offing, or even needing to run to the toilet as well. And then, like I said, any other reactions that you might have there too. Intuitive and mindful eating. So I spoke about that before, how the mindful eating is just taking your time with your eating. So literally stop and smell the roses or stop and chew the food. Enjoy it and know that you're eating it. Because how many times has it been when you're actually eating and you're doing something else that you get to the end of the bowl or the packet and you're like, oh, okay, it's actually gone. I can't actually quite remember eating that. Oh, I better go for another packet. That type of thing there as well. And intuitive eating as well is actually recognizing your hunger signals and being in tune to it. So I spoke briefly about the 3 types of hunger, where there's the physical hunger, emotional hunger, and sensory hunger. But it's also about, understanding I actually am starting to feel quite comfortable now. I'm not feeling so full. I can stop. And it is okay to leave food on your plate, and it is okay to throw it out. The food's already wasted because you've actually bought it, so it's fine if you're actually going to throw it out, or save it for later. Have it for next day. Have it for leftovers. It means you don't have to prepare another meal. Beauty. You just saved yourself some time there. So action makes it happen. So with all this information that I have given you, what is 1 or 2 things that you can work on this coming week? So starting from today, whatever time of day it is, you can still make it. Action makes it happen, that you can do that will support your nutrition. So it could be perhaps more variety through your daily diet and what you choose to eat. It might be perhaps that you might try a new recipe or a cooking style that's going to promote you eating well. So that might be, steaming or sauteing instead of deep frying or cooking it in a large amount of oil, that type of thing. It could be drinking more water. Perhaps you've actually noticed that you don't eat fruit. Remember, we're supposed to have 2 serves a day. How many serves of fruit are you having a day on average? Maybe you might want to have a bit more fruit. You could be cutting down on the processed snacks, such as your chips and your chocolate. Could be cutting down on how much sugar you're putting into your coffee as well. Action makes it happen. Write down 1 or 2 things that you want to focus on this week and implement it, and then build on it as you go along. Make sure that you can really embed that new habit before you bring in on another one, just to make it a bit less difficult and tricky and overwhelming for you. So here's where you can find me if you have any questions at all. So I have a Facebook group called Empower Her Fitness and Nutrition, where we empower your body and your mind. And I'd love it if you could join me in there. I post regularly lots of realistic tips and tricks like today that you can implement into your day. So nothing that's too onerous or difficult for you to do. I have a Facebook page, Regular Jane's Fitness and Nutrition. Join me over there, give me a like, give me a follow, just to stay up to date there with anything happening. And then, of course, I have my email address, which is gemma@regularjane.com.au, and my website, regularjane.com.au, as well as my phone number. And just to suppose as a bit of disclaimer, which I should have done at the start, is that I am registered with the NRN, which is the Nutrition Council of Australia. So there you have it. Thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure, but also thank you for being here too and giving yourself this time to put towards you and being a better, healthier version of you. If you do have any questions, please do drop me a line. I love to talk about this type of stuff and just to break down the barriers for you and how that you can eat a little bit healthier each day, because it's that compound effect, isn't it? You know, if we just do a little bit each day, it ends up to be a nice, big, lovely, big snowball, and we're on our way off to success. Thank you very much. It's been great having you.